The South China Sea, 0 to 34 hours local time, 260 nautical miles northwest of the Philippine island of Luzon, in water that is 4,400 meters deep and perfectly black under an overcast sky that admits no starlight and no horizon. The USS Ronald Reagan Carrier Strike Group is operating in the pre-dawn darkness at the center of a sensor architecture that stretches from the seafloor to geosynchronous orbit. The USS Ronald Reagan, CVN-76, a Nimitz-class nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, is holding 14 knots on a southeasterly heading, her two A-4W reactors generating 260,000 shaft horsepower at a fraction of their rated capacity, her flight deck quiet between the final recovery of the evening cycle at 01:17 hours and the first launch of the morning cycle at 05:30. 4,400 sailors are distributed between watch stations and rest rotations in the rhythm that keeps an operational carrier functioning through a 20-day tasking cycle. 140 nautical miles to the northwest, climbing through 28,000 feet in two formations of 3 aircraft each, 6 Xi'an H-6K strategic bombers of the People's Liberation Army Air Force's 10th Bomber Division are completing their transit from Yangqing Island, the PLAAF's primary South China Sea basing facility at Woody Island in the Paracels, and converging on a launch datum that PLAAF operational planners have calculated provides optimal firing geometry against the Reagan Strike Group's projected position. The H-6K is China's primary long-range maritime strike aircraft, a modernized derivative of the Soviet Tu-16 Badger, fitted with a new glass cockpit, turbofan engines, and 6 hardpoints capable of carrying the YJ-12 supersonic anti-ship missile. 6 aircraft, 6 hardpoints each, 36 YJ-12 missiles at maximum load. In practice, tonight's 6 H-6Ks are each carrying 4 YJ-12S, a total salvo of 24 supersonic anti-ship missiles, launched simultaneously, designed to arrive at the Reagan Strike Group's defensive perimeter in a compressed window that PLAAF planners have computed will require the group to engage 24 Mach 2 plus targets within 40 seconds of the first missile crossing the outer defensive boundary. On paper, this is the most serious aerial threat the Reagan Strike Group has faced in its current deployment. On paper, the E-2D Advanced Hawkeye, orbiting at 26,000 feet 110 nautical miles west of the Reagan, callsign Oracle 7, acquired the first 2 H-6K contacts at 01:41 hours, as the bombers climbed through 12,000 feet on departure from Yangqing Island. The AN/APY-9 radar processed the contact signatures through its non-cooperative target recognition algorithms and classified them as H-6 variant aircraft within 8 seconds of acquisition. The subsequent 4 contacts were acquired within the following 4 minutes as they climbed out of the radar clutter associated with Woody Island's terrain masking. All 6 were in continuous track by 01:48 hours, 46 minutes before they will reach their computed launch datum. The Reagan's CIC received the Oracle 7 contact report at 01:48 hours and 19 seconds. The strike group's rear admiral was woken at 01:49 hours. He had 46 minutes. The 46 minutes between initial H-6K detection and projected missile launch are not 46 minutes of waiting. They are 46 minutes of deliberate, coordinated preparation that transforms the strike group's defensive posture from its standard alert configuration to a fully manned, weapons-hot engagement architecture specifically optimized for a supersonic anti-ship missile saturation attack from the northwest bearing. The Cooperative Engagement Capability Network integrates data from Oracle 7, from the AN/SPY 1DV radars aboard USS Chancellorsville and the 3 Arleigh Burke destroyers in the screen, from the 2 F-35Cs flying Combat Air Patrol 180 nautical miles northwest of the carrier, and from the USS Columbia, SSN 771, a Los Angeles-class fast attack submarine whose towed-array passive sonar has been tracking the H-6K formation's acoustic signature through the correlation of their turbofan engine vibration with the water surface pressure variations they generate at low altitude, into a single fused tactical picture that every platform in the strike group is reading simultaneously. The EA-18G Growler pair, Jammer 3 and Jammer 4, from Electronic Attack Squadron 131, launches at 0207 hours. They have been spotted on the catapult since 0153 hours. Their NGJ centerline pods and ALQ-218 wideband receivers powered and performing built-in tests while the launch sequence proceeded. At 280 knots cruise, Jammer 3 and Jammer 4 will reach their assigned jamming orbit positions 130 nautical miles northwest of the Reagan at 0224 hours, 10 minutes before the H-6Ks reach their launch datum. The jamming geometry has been computed to place the Growlers at the optimal offset angle from the H-6K formation to maximize jamming effectiveness against the YJ-12's active radar seeker, while minimizing the radar cross-section the Growlers present to the H-6K's own search radars. The YJ-12 anti-ship missile is the most capable weapon in the H-6K's arsenal, and it deserves honest technical assessment. It is a large supersonic anti-ship missile, approximately 6.3 meters in length, 800 kilograms at launch, powered by a liquid fuel ramjet that accelerates it to speeds between Mach 2 and Mach 4 in its terminal approach phase, depending on trajectory selection. Its guidance system uses inertial navigation for mid-course flight and an active radar seeker for terminal acquisition, with a stated anti-jamming capability that Chinese defense publications describe as resistant to standard barrage jamming. Its warhead, estimated at 205 kilograms, is sufficient to achieve significant structural damage against a destroyer and potentially catastrophic damage against a carrier if it achieves hull penetration below the waterline. Its maximum range in the anti-ship role is approximately 400 kilometers, a figure that, if accurate, gives the H-6K a standoff capability well beyond the effective range of the carrier's organic air defense interceptors in a standard configuration. The YJ-12's supersonic terminal approach is its most operationally significant characteristic. At Mach 3 in terminal phase, the missile covers a nautical mile in approximately 0.6 seconds. A surface ship's radar detecting a sea-skimming YJ-12 at its radio horizon, approximately 22 nautical miles at 50-meter cruise altitude, has approximately 43 seconds before impact. 43 seconds is not enough time to complete an SM-2 Block IIIB engagement sequence from cold start. It is not enough time for Phalanx CIWS to engage more than 2 or 3 incoming missiles before the first ones reach the ship. The YJ-12's designers understood this. The H-6K's employment doctrine is built around this compressed timeline. The massed salvo of 24 missiles arriving simultaneously exploits this 43-second window by requiring the defense to execute 24 simultaneous engagements faster than the engagement timeline allows. The flaw in this doctrine is the same flaw that the Abu Mahdi's designers incorporated and that the YJ-21's designers failed to account for. It assumes the defending ships are the only sensors in the engagement. It assumes the 22 nautical mile radio horizon of a surface ship's radar defines the engagement timeline. When an E-2D Hawkeye is overhead, when 2 F-35Cs are orbiting 180 nautical miles northwest on the missile's approach bearing, when EA-18G Growlers are positioned to contest the YJ-12's terminal seeker before it can acquire its target, the 43-second timeline becomes irrelevant. The engagement does not begin at the radio horizon. It begins at the H-6K's launch datum 400 kilometers away, when the missiles leave the rails. At 02:19 hours, Jammer 3 and Jammer 4 arrive at their jamming orbit positions and activate their NGJ centerline pods. The jamming targets the H-6K's own navigation and targeting systems, specifically the Beidou 3 satellite navigation receiver that provides the bombers with the precision positioning data their fire control computers require to generate accurate YJ-12 launch solutions against a carrier-sized target at extended range. The NGJ's jamming against Beidou 3's B1 and B2 frequencies does not blind the H-6K crews entirely. They carry backup inertial navigation, but it introduces positioning uncertainty that degrades the quality of the launch solution they will be able to generate. A launch solution built on position data accurate to 40 meters is different from a launch solution built on position data accurate to 400 meters, when the target is a ship that will have moved in the 4+ minutes between launch and missile arrival. At 02:34 hours and 41 seconds, 43 minutes after initial H-6K acquisition, precisely on the PLAAF's computed launch schedule, the first H-6K fires. 4 YJ-12 missiles leave the first bomber in a ripple fire sequence spanning 3.1 seconds. The SBIRS constellation detects the launch events as the YJ-12 boosters ignite. The solid fuel boost motor that accelerates each missile from launch velocity to ramjet operating speed generates a significant infrared signature that SBIRS acquires in 1.4 seconds and transmits via the C2B MC architecture to the Reagan CIC simultaneously with Oracle 7's radar acquisition of the first launch plumes. Within 8 seconds of the first YJ-12 launch, the Reagan's CIC has tracked data on all 4 missiles from the first bomber. The remaining 5 H-6Ks fire within the next 41 seconds, producing a total of 24 YJ-12 contacts in a launch sequence that the CEC network absorbs and sorts into individual tracks in 6.2 seconds. 24 tracks, 24 SM-6 and SM, 2 engagement assignments computed simultaneously by the Aegis Baseline 10 software running across the CEC networked fire control computers of Chancellorsville and the 3 destroyers. The engagement assignment algorithm has been running in background mode for 38 minutes, continuously updating its intercept geometry calculations as the H-6Ks approached and as the projected missile approach vectors became progressively more precise. The moment the YJ-12S launch, the engagement assignments finalize, and the VLS magazines begin their countdown to authorized fire. The 2 F-35Cs on the Northwest KP station, Ghost 3 and Ghost 4, are the first engagement layer. They received the SBIRS launch alert via CEC data link at 02:34 hours and 49 seconds, 8 seconds after the first launch. Their AN/APG-81 AESA radars acquired the first 4 YJ-12 contacts at 02:35 hours and 02 seconds as the missiles completed their boost phase and transitioned to ramjet cruise. The F-35Cs are 41 nautical miles from the lead missile contacts, at the YJ-12's cruise speed of Mach 2 and the AIM-120D's Mach 4 closure speed in a head-on intercept. The engagement geometry produces a firing window of approximately 2 minutes and 18 seconds before the missiles pass beyond effective AMRAAM range. Ghost 3 fires 2 AIM-120Ds at 02:35 hours and 14 seconds. Ghost 4 fires 2 seconds later. The F-35Cs have fired before the YJ-12S have been airborne for 40 seconds. The Jammer 3 and Jammer 4 EA-18G Growlers have simultaneously activated their NGJ jamming against the YJ-12's active radar seeker frequency band, the J-band active radar homing system that the missile uses for terminal acquisition. The jamming does not need to blind the seeker completely. It needs to degrade the seeker's acquisition probability below the threshold required for a reliable lock. Sufficient uncertainty in the seeker's picture to cause it to reject the Reagan's radar return as a confirmed target and continue searching, or to acquire a false target generated by the Growler's deception, jamming, and guide toward it. The YJ-12's described anti-jamming capability is real. Chinese engineers have invested in electronic countermeasures that make the YJ-12 seeker more resistant to standard barrage jamming than older Chinese anti-ship missiles. What the YJ-12's designers apparently did not fully account for is the next-generation jammer's ability to generate a digitally synthesized false target that matches the YJ-12's own seeker waveform parameters, a deceptive jamming technique that exploits the same electronic intelligence about the YJ-12 seeker that the NGJ's threat library has been accumulating from PLAAF test events for 4 years. The first 4 AIM-120D intercepts occur between 0-236 hours and 0-237 hours and 14 seconds. The F-35C's missiles, finding 4 YJ-12 contacts at ranges between 28 and 34 nautical miles from the Reagan. 4 missiles removed from the threat picture before any surface-launched interceptor has fired. Ghost 3 and Ghost 4 each fire 2 more AMRAAMs, addressing 4 additional contacts. 8 YJ-12S engaged by the F-35C layer. 8 intercepts. The SM-6 engagement begins at 0-236 hours and 18 seconds. USS Chancellorsville fires her first SM-6 Block I against the westernmost contact in the approaching missile salvo. The YJ-12 with the most favorable intercept geometry for an SM-6 engagement at the projected range. The SM-6's AN/APG-78 active seeker, guided to the intercept point by CEC composite track data from Oracle 7 and the F-35C's APG-81 radars, acquires the contact at 0-237 hours and 44 seconds, and prosecutes to intercept at 0-238 hours and 02 seconds. The SM-6 fires continue at intervals of between 2 and 8 seconds as the engagement deconfliction algorithm sequences the shot queue across Chancellorsville and the 3 Arleigh Burke escorts, USS Shiloh, USS McCampbell, and USS Mustin, each firing against their assigned contacts. The NGJ jamming begins to affect the approaching salvo at 0-238 hours, when the first YJ-12 missiles that survive the F-35C layer activate their active radar seekers at approximately 30 nautical miles from the Reagan's estimated position. Of the 16 surviving missiles at this point, 8 removed by F-35C AMRAAMs, 9 seeker activations produce degraded or false acquisition due to the NGJ deceptive jamming. 4 of these 9 continue toward the Reagan on inertial guidance after losing seeker lock, maintaining their last known target bearing and speed. They will arrive at the Reagan's estimated position, but the Reagan will not be at her estimated position. The carrier has been executing a continuous evasive maneuvering plan since 0-235 hours, using speed and heading changes to displace herself from the firing solution, coordinates that the H-6Ks computed before launch. A YJ-12 arriving on inertial guidance at its last known target coordinate, with its seeker unable to reacquire due to NGJ jamming, will impact the water at the coordinate where the Reagan was 41 minutes ago. The SM-6 engagement continues through 0-239 and 0-240 hours, systematically addressing the surviving contacts. The SM-2 Block IIIB engagements begin at 0-240 hours and 14 seconds for the contacts that have entered the SM-2's effective engagement envelope, the inner defensive ring. Of the 24 YJ-12S launched, the engagement tally at 0-241 hours is 8 by F-35 CAIM-120D 11 by SM-6 Block 1, 3 incapacitated by NGJ, deceptive jamming guiding them to false targets or inducing terminal flight path deviations. 2 contacts remain. Both have maintained seeker lock through the jamming environment. The YJ-12's electronic countermeasures are not ineffective, and 2 of 24 seekers have successfully rejected the NGJ's false target returns and maintained acquisition on the Reagan's radar return. The first surviving contact is engaged by USS Mustin's SM-2 Block IIIB at 02:41 hours and 33 seconds. Range 14 nautical miles from the Reagan. Terminal approach speed Mach 2.8. The SM-2's proximity warhead detonates within lethal range of the YJ-12's airframe at 02:41 hours and 51 seconds, 11 nautical miles from the carrier. The second surviving contact, the one that has maintained the most coherent seeker track throughout the engagement, the one that rejected the NGJ's false returns most consistently, the one that the PLAAF's engineers apparently spent the most effort hardening against exactly this jamming environment, is engaged by the Reagan's own Phalanx CIWS at 02:42 hours and 07 seconds, at a range of 1.4 nautical miles. The M61A1 Gatling cannon fires 4,500 rounds per minute for 1.1 seconds, approximately 82 rounds, into the YJ-12's flight path. The warhead detonates in proximity to the Phalanx fire stream at 02:42 hours and 14 seconds, 0.9 nautical miles from the Reagan's hull. The warhead detonation produces a pressure wave and fragmentation pattern that causes minor surface damage to 2 antenna arrays on the Reagan's island structure, the only physical effect on any American platform of 24 YJ-12S launched in the PLAAF's most ambitious South China Sea strike operation. Now let us examine the H-6K and what China believed it had built, because the aircraft and its YJ-12 payload represent a genuine long-range strike capability that PLAAF doctrine has been building around for a decade. The H-6K is not a stealth aircraft. Its radar cross-section is enormous, a modified 216 airframe with an RCS measured in hundreds of square meters, visible to the AN/APY-9 at maximum range under any atmospheric conditions. PLAAF doctrine does not compensate for this with stealth. It compensates with standoff range. The H-6K was designed to launch its YJ-12SS at 400 kilometers from the target, placing the bomber itself beyond the range of carrier-based air defense interceptors while the missile does the work. The doctrine is coherent, and the range calculation is correct. What the range calculation does not account for is an E-2D at 26,000 feet, acquiring the H-6K formation at 110 nautical miles before it even reaches the launch datum, providing 46 minutes of preparation time to a strike group that used those 46 minutes to position F-35Cs on the launch bearing, activate EA-18G jamming, fully man its engagement stations, and compute SM-6 firing solutions for every YJ-12 before the first one left the rail. The H-6K's 400-kilometer standoff range keeps the bomber safe from the carrier's air wing. It does not keep the YJ-12 safe from the sensor architecture and weapons capacity of the strike group it is approaching. 2 antenna arrays on the Reagan's island. Minor damage. Repairable at sea within 6 hours by the ship's damage control team. The Reagan's flight deck is clear for the 0530 morning cycle. The H-6Ks are returning to Yongxing Island with empty hardpoints and a very different understanding of what the CEC-networked SM-6 plus F-35C plus EA-18G architecture looks like from the receiving end. 24 YJ-12S. 2 antenna arrays. The most sophisticated maritime strike package the PLAAF has ever employed in an operational scenario produced cosmetic damage to an island structure and confirmed in the most operationally definitive way possible. That standoff range is not the same as survivability when the target's sensor architecture begins tracking you 46 minutes before you reach the launch datum. The South China Sea is 3.5 million square kilometers. It has been an American operational environment for 75 years. The USS Ronald Reagan is at the center of it tonight. Her 0530 flight cycle on schedule, her damage control team already finishing the antenna repairs, and her CIC team filing the engagement report that will inform the next iteration of PLAAF H-6K employment planning. A report that contains 24 YJ, 12 intercept events, and 1 Phalanx detonation at 0.9 nautical miles. Bye for now.